Hi everybody, Drew here, and welcome to the 9th episode of the Neurotic Knitter Podcast. It's been a minute. It's been more than a minute. It's been like at least 2 months since I've been here. And before that, it had been 2 months. So I gotta say, Q4 and Q1, end of the year, beginning of the year, not doing the greatest with podcasts, but that's life. I am committed to continuing to do them in 2019, and I actually had intended to do one last weekend, but I have been so sick. I'm giving you 10-year-old, 15-year-old college sweatshirt realness. Go blue. I'm feeling like maybe at 80 or 85%. It's been a weird week. I missed 2 full days of work, and for people who know me, that's like unheard of. And I just slept. I was so exhausted. But anyway, I'm excited for episode 9. I have so much to cover. I'm going to try to not have it be like a 4-hour long podcast, because I could easily fill that time with everything that's happened since the end of last year. But I did want to hit on some important points. So just to give you an outline of what I'm thinking of talking about today, and you guys know me, you know that sometimes I meander a little bit. But here's what I'm thinking. I want to talk a little bit about the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation that's been going on in the knitting community and spend some time on that. I am going to share a little bit about Vogue Knitting Live. I just had the opportunity to attend, and I want to share a little bit about my experiences there. And then I just want to talk about the normal stuff, so like what I'm knitting, what I hope to knit, some things that are coming up over the next few months, and then some funny stories and some things that have happened. So here we go. And I've got got all my notes as usual, so I'm sure this thing's gonna turn off like halfway through and I'm gonna be scrambling, but that's totally okay. Whoops, sorry. Out of the shot for a minute. Okay. So I guess starting with the diversity, equity, and inclusion conversation that's been going on in the knitting community, where to begin? I think to begin, I want to say that this conversation, in my opinion, was needed, and I think was long overdue. And I'm really glad that it's going on. And I'm supportive of like 90% of the dialogue. I think it's been really, really good. There's so many people who have been leading that conversation and really, stepping out to prompt kind of an uncomfortable but really important dialogue. And so thank you to those folks. There's no way I could possibly list them all. The people that I've been really inspired by have been Creative CC and Gigi. Gigi made it. I want to say that there have been lots of people who have been leading that, but those 2 particular folks, I don't know them well, but I have really appreciated them speaking from their heart and the tone that they have taken in the conversation. I think for me, there's kind of 2 quotes that I hold in my mind when I think about this work and lots of other things in my life, but one is from John Steinbeck. The book is called Travels with Charlie in Search of America. It's one of his maybe lesser known books. But in that book he says, one of the characters says, "Perhaps the greatest wisdom I have is the knowledge that I do not know." And that's always been a powerful quote to me, because we can never know what the experience of other people has been as they move through the world. We can never know what traumas or hardships or even positive stuff has happened to them in their life just by looking at them. We can only make assumptions about what they have experienced and gone through. And similarly, even in the present moment, you just never know what people are going through. And so for me, that makes me think about like, who do I want to be? What are my values? How do I want to move through the world? And in this conversation, what has really bothered me are the moments where people have kind of invalidated what others are feeling. So Tuscan Knits had this podcast, and that has received a lot of attention, and I think it was just I don't even know where to start with that one, but I thought it was really upsetting. It was upsetting to me because I felt like she was saying, she kind of, it made me feel like she was not really fully understanding like the experience that some people in our community had. And that's hurtful. It really hurts. For me, this has made me think a lot about how I could be a better ally. To me, that's an action word. It involves me doing my work to figure out, and learn. It involves me being open and forthright with my friends who hold different identities, to ask questions and to be vulnerable. And I really want to do better on that. I feel like I felt sad when all of this came through, because it was a moment where I was like, I think I'm being a good ally, but I definitely was not being enough of an ally to folks. I think I have some experience in this. I am a white man. I have privileges that go along with that. I don't want to mansplain or undermine the conversation about race, because I think that's really, it's to me one of the most important. But I can empathize a little bit as a gay man and as a male knitter. That has really shaped the way that I move through the world. Also, I grew up really poor, and so that has shaped the way that I move through the world. I think we all hold these identities, different experiences, a really wide range of things that shape who we are and inform how we act. So for me, I get it to a degree, because being gay, you hear all these crazy things like people ask all the time, which one of you is the man and which one of you is the woman? Or, gosh, I'm so sorry you guys won't be able to have kids. Or, as it relates to knitting, gosh, I think it's so wonderful that a man could produce such a beautiful piece of knitting. And I could go on and on and on, but it's those kinds of things where you're just kind of like, really, think before you speak, be a little bit gentle with one another, and, ask respectful questions. I think that's really important. One thing that occurred to me in preparing for speaking a little bit about this is, I've done DEI work for the last 2 years in my organization, and I've also done a lot of that work in my particular department. I work for a national philanthropy. If you Google me, you'll figure out which one it is, but it's pretty prominent. And we've been thinking a lot about diversity, equity, inclusion, and I think, one of the things that I've learned is you have to start with some commitments. You have to start with some, and what I mean by that is like, how are we going to interact with one another? So like, you go into a conversation that's really messy and uncomfortable. You have to have some ground rules about how you're going to be with one another. And it occurred to me that like, that helps me be comfortable in asking questions and being open and, you know, letting people know like that I'm coming from a place with like a warm heart and like openness rather than being misunderstood. And it's, I think what makes this conversation difficult is like there are so many people in the knitting community. We all come from these like really wide backgrounds. We do not have commitments about how we're going to interact with one another. And so, you know, I think people are feeling really vulnerable. I think on both sides, you know, people who have no experience with DEI feel vulnerable because they don't really know about it. They may have had no exposure to people different from them. You know, if they're living in a really rural community, for example, they've never left, they may have no frame of reference here. And they may not know like what's safe and what's not safe. And the same thing goes for folks of color, you know, and people who hold other identities. So just a thought. I was just thinking about that, like, you know, what are our commitments? Like, what are the things that we're going to be keeping in mind as we have this really important conversation? The other thing I've been thinking a lot about is where do we hope to go as a knitting community? How would we know if we had made progress? People who know me are probably laughing as I ask those questions because I am an evaluator. That is my job. That is, I'm a data guy and I'm an evaluation guy. And so all day long I ask people questions like, what is it that you hope to achieve? And how would you know that you had gotten there? And with this conversation, it's the same thing. I think, so that would be a question, like an honest and genuine question that I would ask to our community is like, if we could envision the best possible scenario, what would that look like? Where would we be? How would we know that we had made progress? How would we know that we had gotten there? It has to be more than, you know, people preaching to the choir, people preaching to people in their bubble where we're all just kind of like, yeah, like amen, like yes. And then other people, you know, over here getting beat up or maybe rightfully so, but not making progress. And I actually had a really good dialogue with one of my close knitting friends about this early on. Ben, I won't say your last name, but you know who you are. Just about like how do we approach that, right? Like I'm somebody who, for better or worse, I tend to pull those people close. I don't know, it's weird. Maybe like I'm a masochist or something, but like, you know, I live in the South. I work and interact with lots of people who are very Christian, very religious. Maybe people who you would think on the face would not be open to somebody like me who's, you know, maybe a little bit more moderate, comes from the North, is gay, has this alternative lifestyle. And my perspective on it is this is like a big part of this too is it's heart work. So in my mind, I want people to know my heart. I want them to get to know me as a gay man. I want them to know that, you know about my hopes and dreams, know something about me that's outside of like the conversation around identity, that's just around like Drew as a whole person, not Drew as the gay man or Drew as the white man or Drew as the guy who grew up poor. So anyway, I don't know, I'm kind of rambling, but to close, and this is just as messy as I thought it would be, so I'm sorry, but I did feel like I wanted to say something, and I want to kind of recap, which is, I'm here for you. I want everybody to be seen and heard. Everybody's welcome with me. Thank you to those of you who blazed the trail. It's an important trail, and I think now, to me, the next question is like, where do we go? And how do we get there? And I don't know. I have this hope that like some of these moments where it's been like a big pile-on, and again, like I'm not defending it all because I think like some of the pile-ons, like actually most of the pile-ons are like completely warranted because the things that were said were really hurtful and triggering and like terrible. But like is there is there a different way, a different path? Like, is there a different way we can go? And is there a way we can help folks like that understand the hurt and the pain and the journey that we've been on, those of us who hold identities that make us really different, in a way that we can touch somebody's heart and then get to their head and then hopefully move them to a place where they can understand and empathize. So anyway, maybe we need like a conference. I don't know. Like, I come from a world of conferences and trainings, and I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out there. I'd love to like dialogue more about this. The other thing I'll say is, like, I'm so uncomfortable with sharing my opinion on this, because as a white man, I don't know that I'm like the right messenger. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to continue to be silent, because I know, that's part of my privilege, to be silent, and I want to speak up, and I want to say that, everybody should really feel welcome and loved, and that's what makes to me, that's what makes the knitting community the best. So I hope that we'll make progress, and I think that we will. I think we have already. So that goes to the next, so to transition, but email me or, message me if you want to talk more about this, or you have questions about what I said, which was a terrible speech, unplanned, took way too long. You're all like asleep now. But yeah, just get in touch with me. Hopefully I didn't say anything that hurt people. That would hurt me. So let me know, call me out. I'm open to that. I can take that if I did. So Vogue Knitting Live, that's the next thing to talk about. So I went to Vogue Knitting Live. It was like a few weeks ago, January. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. Oh my God, guys, I love coffee so much. It's like my lifeblood. Ooh, it's so good. Especially on like a Saturday morning where it's like you've got the whole weekend ahead of you and you have like that wonderful first cup of coffee. Oh, there's nothing better than that. Anyway, Vogue Knitting Live. So it was in New York. I stayed at the Pod Hotel, which is located by the Port Authority bus terminal. I don't know how many of you have ever stayed in one of these before. It's like a budget hotel, but it's pretty nice. It's very bare bones, and the reason it's called Pod is because you stay in a very small. The room is really small, and it doesn't have any frills. Like, it doesn't have a refrigerator. It doesn't have an ironing board. But it has everything you need. It has a really nice bathroom. It has Wi-Fi. It has lots of places to like charge your stuff, and there's a TV in the window. So like all the basics. But like, it doesn't have a business center. It doesn't have a pool. So by sacrificing some of those amenities, you get something that's in a really convenient location and is really affordable. So I would highly recommend it. It was like maybe a 10-minute walk to where Vogue was being held, and it was just in a super great location. I had a really good time. So that's where I stayed. The experience of the actual like conference and the show was just totally overwhelming. It's the only way I can describe it. In a positive way, it was filled with energy, and I saw so many people. I mean, out of all the shows I've ever attended, and I think this is probably like the last big one that I've not been to that I went to, except for maybe Stitches West. I've never been to that one. But it was awesome. It was so cool to see everybody, like, oh my God, there's Stephen West. Oh my God, there's Gigi. Oh my God, there's Andrea Mowry. And like, I mean, just everybody was there. So that was super, super cool. It was crowded. I did not have a game plan, and I was in like a weird headspace when like the first night, like the Friday of the market. I just was like exhausted. I don't know. I just was like not in the mind of like shop, like have a mission and go to this booth. I didn't have any plans. And that was a mistake. I should have done my homework, because what happens is the booths are really small, and it's a super crowded convention center. It's 2 floors, and they're in these big ballrooms, and it's just packed. Like, I mean, I went straight to Plucky Knitter because I know them, they're my people, and within 2 minutes of being in that booth, I could not move. I couldn't shop, I couldn't get to what I wanted, and I was like 85 degrees, it was just, couldn't do it. I was tapped out. And that continued throughout the whole show. So like people ran out, vendors ran out of things, of course, because it was just like a mad dash. Like one booth had I always say this wrong, La Bien Aimée, which I would have really wanted, but I didn't know that where it was. And by the time I got there, it was totally like all out. But it was good on the whole. I didn't really buy very much, so I have a couple things to show you, some goodies. I didn't even bring like all of the goodies, but one thing that I had been searching for a long time that I really wanted to try out is this. This is melted. What is it called? Melted Surrey baby alpaca yarn from Ching Fibers, and this is the colorway Hero. There's actually like one of the like the skeins are not like super well matched. But I think the project that I want to make is this, I think it's called like the Festival Lights shawl by Stephen West, and you're holding it with other colors, so I don't think it will really matter that much, but it's so soft and amazing. I got this from Karen at Do You Knit, who I love. It's like a highlight of, like, my highlight of going to these shows is like getting hugs. Like, I'm there for the hugs first, I'm there for the yarn second, and then third, I'm there for Shelly can pins. So I got some Shelly can pins, and I got to have some, sorry, let me like dig in my little thing here. I got to chat with Shelly Can. I just love her. I don't know. She probably thinks I'm like a creepy stalker. I talk about her like every other podcast. I think she's a creative genius. As evidenced by, so it's in New York City. Her pins come in a little pizza thing that that's like the cutest. I mean, I don't know. You're like lying if you think that this is not cute and that you have to like immediately have it. And then you're like looking, you're like, oh my God, that's such a cute idea. Then you open it up, it gets even better because you've got your little pizza and it has yarn balls on it. You've got your little shakers. It comes on like the wax paper that like pizza comes on. I'm just like, shut up and take my money. Take all of it. So yeah, so I got these pins, which I was really excited about. I also got a project bag from Shelly Can that has like a similar kind of design. I didn't bring that up here. I got like a little needle gauge thing from Katrinkles. And then I got one other thing that was kind of a fun, new to me thing, which I have not tried yet. This is a new needle, and I'm going to try to put it so you can see. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. It's called a prim needle. Now, what makes it so unique is that it has, it's made of plastic, I think. It's got some like really good grippy texture on the needle, and it has these really unique tips that are supposed to make it so the yarn doesn't split. It's got a really good flexible cable. It's got a cable that I think is very close to the die-craft cable that people just rave about, where it's metal but it's really flexible. Like you can see, I mean, it's like, it's not at all rigid. It's a really good cable. So I'm excited to try these. Allegedly these are gonna come, these are from Europe, and they're gonna come to this, start being distributed in the States, I think in July is what the woman told me. So I'm excited to give these a whirl. I always like to try new equipment. They also, like, when I was in the booth, I was like knitting, I was like, oh, these are great, I'm gonna buy them, and I didn't even ask how much they were, and I'm like, oh, they're probably gonna be like $80. $12. So it's, I mean, $12, like worth a shot to see if it's like the next best needle. So that's it. That's all I got at Vogue Knitting Live. It's not very much, like by Drew standards, which is fine because like I don't need any more, clearly, but it was really fun. Other things I got to do, I hung out with some of my plucky knitter friends, Amber and Winnie, and Aaron, and all kinds of people. Got to spend a lot of time with my friend Hayes, which was really great. We kind of hung out a lot of the time together, got a few meals, and it was just overall a really good experience. Overwhelming. So like, I think people are like, would you do it again? I would do it again, but what I would do differently is this. I would make a very clear plan. Like, do the research, follow Instagram for weeks in advance, get a sense of like my prioritize list of like where I want to go, and like hit it hard on Friday, and then just do social stuff and maybe classes on Saturday and Sunday. And it was a bummer because like there were some things I really wanted to do. Like I really wanted to see Steven, but I wasn't on top of it enough. So like by the time I got like where he was, he had like a super long line, and I was like just tapped out. So it was, I think the other thing is just like rest, like be prepared for craziness, like get a good night's sleep, drink a lot of water, maybe take like a sedative before you go to the market, like be prepared for the crazy. But it was really fun. I would totally do it again. And next year I think is like the 20th anniversary, so I guess it's going to be even crazier if that's possible. Okay, so that was Vogue Knitting Live. Really fun. Totally recommend it. Next up on my list, what am I knitting? Ooh, always a good question. I brought 3 things up here. Of course, I've got like a million unfinished projects. As you all know, you can like see them in the background. They're like somewhat masked, somewhat not. Anyway, one thing that I pulled out of the vault recently is this scarf. And try to put it so you can see the texture. This is called the Broken Garter Scarf. It is a Pearl Soho free pattern. It's literally a 1-row pattern. And it's just delicious. Like right now, as I mentioned, I was sick, so like in my life I need simple. I just want to like sit and just kind of like knit away and veg out and not have to think. But there's something like I think really elegant about this pattern. I mean, it's ultimately just like a big swatch of garter with these kind of pretty columns. There's also this really cool, you do like a slip one knitwise at the beginning of each row, and it creates this like really kind of fun edge. I'm loving it. I am knitting it out of the Plucky Knitter Traveler Aran. It is a discontinued yarn. It makes me so sad I'm getting choked up because this yarn is so nice and she discontinued it. I think it was like they had a problem with the mill. At least that's what the rumors were. I really don't know for sure. It's 65 merino, 25, wait, I'm gonna get this wrong. Mostly wool, 60 something wool, 20 something silk, and then the rest yak. And this color is called Honey Wilkes. And this base took the colors like really beautifully and made them kind of like jewel tony, like silk always does. And I ordered this like right before, like I ordered some of this yarn like right before it went out, and thank God I did. That's a reason why you should order. If you're ever like, I don't know, should I order? Should I buy it or not? I really like it. You better buy it, because what if it goes away forever? Then you'll never be able to have it again. Spoken like a true enabler. So I'm working on that, Broken Garter Scarf. Oh my God, you guys are gonna be like, this is like exciting, but then I'm also like, I guess basic, because everybody's knitting this. Not basic, that sounds bad. But I'm like almost done with my night shift shawl. Look at this. Is it not so beautiful? I can't take it. And I have to like stand so you can see like, wow, look at all the colors, so pretty. I'm almost done. I'm so excited. Like I'm literally on the last section. And I think it's like a psychological thing. Like when I really enjoy a project, I kind of don't want it to end. So I've been like knitting like a row here and a row there. And I'm like, I don't want this to be done. But I actually do want it to be done because I can't wait to wear it. I'm knitting it out of the Spin Cycle Dream State yarn, and if you guys have not knit with that yarn, it is so good. Like, so good. It's so funny because I'm not normally into like hand spun or ones where it's like, you know, several plies of different colors, which is what the Spin Cycle is. I'm normally just, it's not my jam. I like solids or occasionally a speckle, but that's not normally a yarn I would pick. I love it. I thought it was really, really soft, great to work with. You know, interesting in a way that Noro's interesting, where the shift happens and you just want to keep going. She's got some really, some other bases that are really, really good. So anyway, really liking that. So that's number 2. And then this one I'm so excited to show you, but I haven't been working on it in like a couple weeks, but I'm definitely gonna finish it. Hold on one second. Okay, so this one, so excited to show you. If you follow me on social media, you're like, oh my God, enough already with this one. But this is I always have like a zillion ends. I wait till the very end to weave them in. This is my brioche sweater. This is a Stephen West pattern. It is a 2-color, gosh, isn't that great? Oh, I love this. It's a 2-color brioche pattern. It is like so delicious in its squishy texture. I can't even describe it to you. I'm using Hedgehog Fibers Merino Aran. My first time knitting with this. Really nice. Really, really nice. Again, like so squishy and wonderful. I've really enjoyed the project. The only like criticism I can make, well, there's 2, and they're really not. They're like not about the pattern really or anything. They're just kind of truths. So one is it takes a long time. Like I'm a slow knitter, and to knit an entire sweater out of brioche, like I started it in like mid-December, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna really work hard on this, and I'm gonna get it done for Vogue, and I'm gonna wear it to Vogue. No, did not happen. It was just too much. It was just, it takes forever. Because you're basically knitting, it's like twice the knitting. I mean, like quite literally, like there's 2 rounds for every 1 knitted row in brioche, as many of you know. So I just worked and worked and worked and worked, and then I got to a point like a week before Vogue, and I was just like, this ain't happening. Like, what sweaters can I dust off to wear? So I'm gonna go back to it. It's actually easy knitting. It's just slow. The other thing, so that was number 1. Number 2 issue is just gauge. I had a problem with my gauge. Not a problem. It's just like a little, it's gonna be tighter. I've done a couple try-ons. I think it's gonna be fine. It is going to be like a little more fitted than he recommended in the pattern, but I was kind of at a decision point where it's like, do I want it to be a little smaller, or do I want to size up and have it be like 4 inches of ease? And I just don't like, I don't like to wear sweaters with a lot of ease. I mean, I don't need them to be like skin tight, but I just don't want to like I don't want to feel like I'm wearing like a muumuu. So yeah, brioche though, I would highly recommend the pattern. It's really good. So those are the things I'm working on. Today it's the garter stitch scarf. That's like going to be my jam, I think, this weekend. And maybe if I have time tomorrow, I will finish that night shift. But I'm excited because all of these items are kind of along the path, and I need to finish some stuff. The other thing that's going on with me, just knitting wise, before I talk about general life stuff, is I want to knit like everything lately. Like I'm going through this phase in my knitting journey where like all these great patterns keep coming out and I'm like, oh my god, I want to make that. Oh my god, I want to make that. Oh my god, I want to make that. I mean, I've always been like kind of like that, but it's at like a 10. Like I have so many things I want to make. And I'll just list a couple. Like one is this huge shawl. It's called Big Star. I think the woman who did the pattern is Julia Billings, and somebody did it out of like 100% felted cashmere. So good. She knit it like, I think this person knit it with sport weight held double on an 11, and I'm like, that sounds remarkable and expensive, but mostly remarkable. So that's one. Stephen West has come out with just like a whole crap load of patterns that I want to make, like one of which is the bubble sweater. I'm obsessed with. In fact, I pulled yarn the other day from like deep stash, and I have these 3 skeins of Yowza in colorway Slate. And so I'm going to use this to make a bubble sweater, and then I just have to figure out like what the accent color will be, and it might be like one of those teals from behind me or even the gold. So I'm knitting from stash, which is really great, and it's exciting, but that pattern is really cool. Like it's been all over Instagram. You should check it out in Ravelry. Bubble sweater. It's so simple. It's got this really nice folded hem for the neckline. Really easy to do and very cool looking bubble detail where it's 2 colors but you only ever knit with one, so that's super cool. And then you're just like stocking that in the body. Easy peasy. I actually think I'm going to make one for Mike too, so maybe that'll be like matching sweaters for our Christmas card next year. So I want to make that. What else do I want to make? He has another sweater that just came out called Night Nook that's got like really interesting construction. I don't know, there's just like a billion things. And then I have like all these things I want to finish. I don't know how I'm going to get it all done, guys, because I haven't really been knitting that much. So yeah, anyway, just like a bazillion things I want to work on. So knitting events over the next couple of months. I'm really excited because there's 2, possibly 3 coming up. So one is Dallas Fort Worth Fiber Festival. I'm like 65% sure I'm going to do that one. I'm kind of like on the fence. I went last year for the first time. Dallas is like close enough where I can drive. And I really liked it. That show has like a really kind of under the radar vibe, and there's some really good vendors there, and it was just like a nice experience. Like I had a really good time last year. So I think I might do that. I signed up for the men's spring knitting retreat. For those of you who don't know, there's a number of men's knitting retreats across the country, and one of the ones that's I think it was like the first one, or it's one that's kind of popular, is in upstate New York in May. And I signed up for that. I'm really excited. I'll get to meet some of my male knitting friends there and spend like 4 days in upstate New York in the springtime, which will be really beautiful. So I'm doing that in mid-May. And then I'm going to try to hit a Plucky event in the spring, probably one of their knit nights. I'm hoping they're going to announce like a big event. Fingers crossed. I really hope there'll be like a pop-up version 2. They had a pop-up last year at their headquarters. It was like the first time they invited people into the headquarters, and it was like, I think at the end of May. It was so fun. It was like one of the best knitting things I've ever been to. It's just like a really calm and fun time. So I'm hopeful for that. So those are my plans. And then I think in terms of fall, I think I'm going to do Rhinebeck again. I have to like get on it because accommodations book up so fast for that. But I would really like to go again. It was really a super fun time, and I just enjoyed every aspect of Rhinebeck. It's probably my favorite show I've ever done. Really fun, cute little towns, good energy. I really like the events that are outside with the different outbuildings, kind of like Maryland and Rhinebeck, because it doesn't get so crowded and you can be outside for a few minutes and just like enjoy the sun and all that kind of good stuff. So that's my plan. In terms of life stuff, gosh, I've just been, we had Christmas, so I can't believe it's been like longer than since Christmas, since I recorded, but we went to New York. That was really lovely. Had a very quiet and calm Christmas. It was a somewhat somber one because it's the 10th anniversary of my mother's passing, so it was good to be with family. And you know, it was sad, and I had like a couple breakdown moments, but overall really good. And what else? So some other things that have been happening. I have started spinning, and not spinning fiber, but spinning like on a spin bike. I started classes for that in January, and I've really loved it. Those of you who follow me on Instagram are starting to see my spinning selfies, for better or worse. And I'm going to continue with it. I did like a month-long trial in January. I really enjoy it. I think for me, it's good accountability, and it's encouraging. It's a very encouraging studio that I go to. You get to do weights, you get to do a lot of crunches, there's music involved, it's high energy, and it helps me feel like I'm doing something active. I'm not like a big sports guy, I'm not a big exercise guy, I'm definitely not like a good in like a competitive exercise environment. Like Orange Theory is kind of a competitive environment, CrossFit can be really competitive. Like I just can't, that's not how I'm wired. It's actually really intimidating to me. So spin is great because I can be there with other people, but it's really just about like do what you can do and get a good sweat on, rock out to some music, and like feel good about yourself, burn some calories. So I'm doing that, which is really, really exciting. There's some other life stuff going on that I can't really share. It's not bad, not really bad. It's not health related or anything like that. It's I can't share anything about that right now. But there could be changes ahead. I've been spending a lot of January preoccupied with potential changes ahead. It's exciting and stressful all at the same time. Should hear something in the next couple of weeks that might lead to a change. So stay tuned. Next podcast might have some big news. And then, other than that, a couple of other things. Someone special in my life turns 8 years old tomorrow. And that's my little dog, Oscar, my black and white guy. I'll show you a picture of him here in a minute. It's kind of like crazy, and I'm getting like a little sad about it because I love him and I hate that he's getting older. I know he's not that old. Eight isn't that old, but he's like slowing down a little bit. I'm like, oh, you can never go away. He's my little baby. So he turns 8 tomorrow, so that's really exciting. Other stuff, RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 4, we've been like glued to the TV. Cannot believe what happened like, I guess a week and a day ago with the elimination. So shady, the worst. Now I'm like Team Trinity because I just have always liked her. And then I guess Team Monet and Monique evenly. And then I do not want Naomi Smalls to win at all. I don't think she deserves it. I think she's like the Roxy Andrews of this like series. I think she's forgettable. I don't want her to win. And she's shady. She was really shady in her elimination. She's not playing fair, and I don't like that. So anyway, so last thing is a funny story. So I don't know if it's really funny or it's just like me being irresponsible. So you can judge for yourself. Every year, well, for the last 2 years, we've had Christmas card photos taken. This year, we were a little late. Long story short, like, I had in my mind that I would do Christmas cards, like, the week before we went to New York for Christmas. We didn't get our photos in time, so then we didn't get the cards in time, so then the cards came, like, on December 21st, like, the day we were leaving. So I took them with me. I was like, I'm going to do them while I'm, on break. That didn't happen. Then we got back, and I'm like, I'm going to do them over the break. That didn't happen. So long story short, I never sent my Christmas cards, which I feel like, I don't know. I don't feel good about it, but then I also was kind of just like, it just felt like I felt like there was never like enough time to do them. And then it got so late that I felt embarrassed about sending them. So, because it says Happy Holidays on it, and we're in like Christmas attire, and it's now February. So maybe next year, guys. Awful. But I did want to share the Christmas card because I think it's so cute. It says Happiest Holidays. There we are. So there's my little guy. Look. Oh my God, isn't he so cute? That's Oscar. And then that's Dogan. And my partner Mike and I. And every year we do cutesy little things like we try to coordinate. So like you can see Mike's wearing a red sweater and Dogan's got a little bow tie. And I'm wearing one. And then Oscar's got a coordinating bow tie for me. Last year we did plaid, so like Mike had buffalo plaid and so did Dogan, and then I had black watch plaid and so did Oscar. And then I think this coming year I'm gonna try for sweaters. We'll see if I can crank those out. But yeah, I think that's it. This might be my shortest podcast ever. I just wanted to let people know that I'm alive. I wanted to spend some time with you all, so thank you all for spending time with me. I miss doing this, and I'm going to try really hard to do it more often. Thank you for listening to the DEI portion and just being gentle with me. That was very much first draft thinking. I'm kind of putting myself out there a little bit on that. But don't want to stay silent. That's not the right thing to do. So anyway, I hope all of you will have a wonderful Saturday. And I hope that you're all doing well. Look forward to the comments. Message me, text me, and I will see you very soon. Much love to you all. Bye.